Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back. All of us are back. We got Stu, and we got the whole crew here. Rick Kearney, Nancy Stewart, Jonathan Cantor. We're in the studio here in North Palm Beach, Florida, and we're raring to go. I've been in this business a long time, as most of you regular listeners know, and I have never been through an era like this, a relatively short era, of revolution in the automotive business. It's going crazy. We just had this is even a minor event, UAW strike. I missed that. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did, the big three. And we can talk about that this morning. It's going to affect some people, not as much as you might think, in my opinion. This whole electric vehicle revolution is just absolutely, I know a lot of you folks out there are still of the mind that it just ain't going to happen. I mean, cars are cars, and combustion engines are really good things, and they've been around a long time, and they do a great job, and you're right about all that. But I'm telling you, electric vehicles are coming, and we have got a lot of evidence to prove that. So we'd love to hear from you. You know, we can sit here and talk, and we do talk too much. I do, I know that, and we prefer to hear from you. It's important that you have your views be told. You can either do it, by calling the show, or you can text the show, or you can do it online, Facebook, YouTube. We've got a lot of ways that you can contact us, and that's what makes the show. It's very tempting for us because we love to talk, and there's all sorts of good new things to talk about. But really, your questions are what the reason the show exists. If you didn't have questions, we wouldn't have a show. And we have some extremely articulate, intelligent folks out there that are regulars. We'd love to hear some new folks, too, because there's we get into a rut. I think I had a tap on my shoulder. If it wasn't accidental, we probably have a caller. Is that true? No, it was accidental.
Stop talking.
Nothing like live talk. Everything is just off the cuff here. And I thought Nancy had tapped me, because what we do if we have a call is we stop. And if we're talking about something else, we go to the call, the audio telephone call. Let me make that clear. And that telephone number, you might want to make a note of this, that telephone number to call the show is 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. We like those calls. They're just more interesting, and they're more human. They're more, I don't know what the word is, but live radio is exciting. Then we have the text number, which is 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. I'm a texter. I actually get a lot of live phone calls personally and business-wise, and because I get so many, I prefer text, because with text you cut to the chase, you express your view, and you can play with it a little bit, be sure you get it exactly right. That's my mentality. I like text. So if you're like me and you just want to get your thought into the show and answered, it will be likely answered. Stu Stewart accumulates those during the show, and if we're talking on the phone or doing something else, we can archive that during the show, and we get to almost all of our texts. I'll say all of our texts usually during the show. With a 2-hour show, we're on from 8 a.m. Till 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in North Palm Beach, Florida. So text us at 772-497-6530. And YouTube, I mentioned that, youtube.com/Earl on Cars. Check that out. Rick Kearney, who is our certified diagnostic master technician, he watches that. So he sees the post right away. And he can, just got a real tap on the shoulder, not accidental.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go right to the phones as we have several calls backed up. I want to thank you for joining us. We're going to go straight to Lance, and he calls us from Tennessee weekly. Good morning, Lance. What's your song this morning?
Well, it's a good song. And it may be a big hit, I'm not sure. But Earl was talking about texting. You know, up here in the hills, we text one day and get it the next in about 3 weeks. So I think
We're having a little problem hearing you.
It sounds like you're going in and out, Lance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, you're kind of are you on a regular phone or a car phone?
Car phone.
Can you hear?
That shows how old I am.
Can you hear me better now?
Very well, thank you.
Coming through.
All right, I'm sorry, and I just saying that you were talking about texting. You know, up here if you text one day, you will get it in about 2 weeks.
Still don't.
He said when you text one day, you'll receive it 2 weeks later.
Wow, how'd you hear that? I thought you said Texan.
Well, I listen to engines.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, I tuned in just a little bit late. Has anybody talked about the auto workers strike?
Not yet. It just came up just briefly as Earl was kind of touching on how crazy the car business has been, and actually describing the UAW strike as a minor thing compared to some of the seismic.
Let me clarify that, Lance. Obviously, it's the news of the day. Everybody's excited about it. First of all, the General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, a.k.a. Chrysler Jeep, dealers have a lot of cars. The average Big Three dealership has over a 60-day supply of cars. So my guess is they anticipated the possibility of this, and they built their inventory up. So right now, the question last week that I missed, I said there won't be a strike. I said, should I buy a car right away before the strike happens? And I said, no. I'm right that you shouldn't have bought a car right away, because there are plenty of cars in the Big Three inventories. Now, if you want to buy Japanese, Asian car, Korean and Japanese, you got a different problem there. So they did strike. Fortunately for the buyer, they struck the manufacturers that have the most cars in dealer stock.
Well, I can't let the morning pass away this morning without a little quick tune.
Okay. We're ready.
Well, if you want to talk cars, buy or sell, call on Earl, and he gets up early just to get the news. Call on Earl. Oh, lots of friends, you bet. Good advice you'll get. Earl Stewart on cars.
Lance, I would like to ask your permission to take a podcast and use that in our marketing.
I think we need a better quality audio.
Well, yeah, we'd have to clean it up a little bit, but yeah, we could do that.
AI can do that.
So, is it okay if we run that as like a Earl on Cars advertisement?
Oh, you can run it any place, but please make sure you run it in some real good, popular beer joints.
Okay.
Thank you, Lance.
It's a promise.
Have a great day. Thanks.
You too, my friend.
Thanks, Lance. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. I have a whole lot more to share with you, but we're going to stay with the phones. We have several calls backed up. We're going to go to Bob in Lake Worth. Good morning, Bob. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. I think Mr. Earl kind of hit on my subject also. I've been in the market for a used car. I've been waiting for the prices to come down. So now I've got $192,000 miles on my 2010 Genesis. Oh. Should I just keep waiting, or is it time to pull the trigger? I'm hoping I'm getting sticker shock on used cars.
Well, they're coming down much slower than new car prices are. And the reason is a real shortage of used cars because of the lease situation. The leases dropped way off, and there are not a lot of lease comebacks, which were a major source of cars for dealers. So I wouldn't recommend. I think you just got to shop. You have to look at buying a car costs from two standpoints. One is you're depriving yourself of something you want and need. So I would say shop around carefully, and you can find yourself a good buy on a used car. I'd look at Consumer Reports. I'd find a good car, based on safety and reliability, economy, and shop around, and I think you get yourself a good buy. Used cars depreciate anyway less than new cars. In normal times, if you can remember back when times were normal, I always recommended that a used car is a much better value than a new car. So I would say yes. I would say shop around carefully and find a car that not only you like, but Consumer Reports like, and go ahead and make the purchase and take your time, 2 or 3 weeks, serious shopping. You can probably find a good buy.
What do you think about, what is it, off lease going out? Do you think that's going to change the market any with those cars coming on or not?
We talk about them a lot on this show, but we got to remember we're international now. There's only, I think, 6 or 7 off-lease only locations, or they're only in Florida and Texas. They were a big factor in Florida. I would say they're second biggest to CarMax, but only the state they're in is Texas. So if you're in Florida, it'll have a temporary effect, but
Remains to be seen.
yeah, not much.
We'll see, because we'll know that every used car manager in South Florida used off lease only as an excuse for why business was so bad. And so if business gets better, we'll let you know.
Thank you so much. Hey, have a great day, guys. Doug, thanks for your help. Bye.
Thank you, Bob.
877-960-9960. And ladies, you can win yourself $50 this morning by giving me a call. First 2 new lady callers, $50. Maybe you could share with me how you negotiated for your vehicle, whether you went with used, lease, whether you went with new by purchasing it. But it can be a whirlwind experience out there. So give us a call at 877-960-9960. And we're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone this morning?
Good morning, Bob.
Welcome back, Stu.
Thank you very much.
I see our friend Terry Tyler just purchased the Nissan dealership on Blue Heron and I-95, and now he has 3 of them in all the same general vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, the manufacturers don't have a problem with that?
I think his dealers do a pretty decent job, meaning volume. The dealers, the manufacturers don't care about how dealers sell cars. Now, I know I'm upsetting a lot of people because, especially in the manufacturing division, probably in the distribution division, but they pay lip service to, we want honest, transparent dealers. The name of the game with manufacturers is how many cars does a dealer sell. Terry Taylor's dealerships sell a lot of cars. In fact, I'm going to show up for people that are streaming this. I copied this out of Automotive News. Terry Taylor just bought a ski cottage in Aspen, Colorado, $76 million. So that's how good Terry Taylor's business is.
It looks like the Palace at Versailles.
Yeah.
Right. I mentioned that last week. You said that he won a big lawsuit against Mercedes.
Yeah, that's how he got his first $200 million. Now I don't know what he's worth. A very secretive guy. He's like, you remember Howard Hughes, billionaire. Yeah. He's kind of like an automotive version of Howard Hughes. Nobody knows where he is, what he does,
what he looks like,
and he names all his dealerships something else. And Stu has done a lot of research because we mystery shop some dealerships a lot, as you know, and a lot of times we know who owns it. We get a Terry Taylor dealership, we can't find out who owns it.
I always try to find out who the owner is, and it's usually like a day-long process to find out if it's
he hides. So it's very unusual for billionaires and multimillionaires to be so secretive, but he is. I don't know. Some people are just like that. And as a matter of fact, for those who haven't heard the story, Terry Taylor got a few $100 million from Mercedes many years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And because he got punitive damages on Florida because they refused to allow him have a Mercedes open point. The reason I know the story so well is my attorney, his name is Jim Adams, he also retired to Lake Tahoe because he got 40% of the judgment. So, so it created 2 multimillionaires, my lawyer and Terry Taylor.
And they both retreated to like ski resort towns and bought mansions.
So he remains a mystery man, Bob. Do you have anything else to share with us?
Yes. On your website where you have the grades, has there been any thought on putting the dates in on when these dealerships were shopped?
Yeah, you're right. We talked about something similar to that because that's the most recent shop. That's the grade of the most recent shop. And you're right, it's not dated. We were thinking about going back, but this would be a very difficult process and like calculating a grade point average because it changes. You know, each mystery shop is just a snapshot in time, and we could have probably gone back the next day and it maybe been better or worse. So
Right.
it would be an undertaking. But what you can do is on the same page, when you link over to read the actual mystery shops, they're all dated.
Okay.
So if you it's easy to do. You can do like a little command, Control F or Command F search function. Once you get to, then you can find them instantly if you just type in the dealer's name.
And I happened to see one of the new Toyota Crowns,
Yeah.
believe it or not, and it was not too far from your dealership down on North Lake and US 1, and it actually looked pretty nice from behind.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty nice looking vehicle. I didn't really care for the profile on it. They did something on the side there. They put some of this black gloss
Trim. Yeah.
on the sign, which to me, I never really care for that on any car.
I
It
saw
looked like a
some
pretty
of them
nice-
have
it
that,
looked
and then
like a
some
pretty
look a little bit more ordinary. I like the ones that are a little bit more ordinary.
Is that hybrid, that car, or is
Yes.
that just it is?
Yeah, all of them are.
Was that
hybrids.
yesterday you saw it, Bob?
Geez, you got me. It could have been yesterday. or the day
Might have been
before.
Earl and I driving the
Yeah.
Crown,
They were
which I
driving
was
one.
pretty impressed with.
I lost
It
another
replaced the
tire in my
Avalon.
Tesla.
Oh, so that we put you in a Crown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was a
Jason
red
Lady
one.
thought it would be a good idea
Yeah.
because of my Avalon and
Yeah.
wanting to maybe test drive the
Yeah. So
Crown. But Bob, it's pretty impressive.
yeah, they're all hybrids, and then Toyota is coming out with one next spring called the Crown Signia, which is yet another SUV. Look, but it's a luxury SUV. So
Oh, all right. Because I saw Toyota said they were going to build something for $170,000.
doesn't sound like a Toyota.
That might have been the Century.
Yeah,
Did you read
something-
about that in the
something.
newspaper?
I saw it somewhere. $170,000
just recently.
Toyota.
Yeah, this past week. Yeah, that's the Century is for the royalties, and they're making it available for us. Bob, it was great talking to you. I've got some calls backed up.
Is it for the
Okay,
Emperor?
and
Enjoy the show.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, and Happy New Year to all my Jewish friends. Happy New Year.
Happy-
Happy Rosh Hashanah.
Let's-
Happy Rosh
Hashanah.
Hashanah.
5,022, right?
I think so. Are you sure it's not 23?
Okay, ladies,
I
we
get
have
lost.
$50 for the first two new lady callers. $50. Share your experience with us, or just give us a call to say hello. I believe that I lost a female caller,
Oh, no.
and if you'll give me a call back, I'll take your call right away. We're really backed up. We're going to go to New Jersey for a first-time caller, and that is Eileen, I believe. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, hi, you did.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
You won
I was
yourself $50 this morning. If you'll stay on the line when we're finished talking, you can speak to
Oh,
Jeremy, and he'll get your contact information and give it to me, and I'll get you that check for $50. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What can we do for you this morning?
I was recently in Florida, which is how I got to the radio show. I was purchasing a condo with my husband, and we're trying to figure out whether we should have a car down there or not. Like, I'm worried about leaving it for stretches of time. What are your opinions on that?
Well, it's a good idea if you do have your purchase a vehicle and it's the second car down here in Florida. You know, there's a lot of precautions that you can take to protect it, so it'll start when you get in it if you've left it for a certain amount of time. And Rick probably has some good advice.
The really difficult thing is, if it's possible, is finding someone that can drive the car for you just a short distance while it's kind of sitting a lot. And if not,
Okay.
the best device is a battery tender that can either plug in the wall or use like the solar charger style that will help keep that 12-volt battery charged up.
And Eileen, I know from experience, And as a matter of fact, just recently, I had to have my Avalon towed. My battery was dead, and I live here all year round, but it's really important what Rick said. That's probably the most important aspect of the whole, plan that you have, and that's getting someone to take the car out and drive it and give it that exercise.
Okay, and the battery tender, is that just at like a normal automotive parts store?
Yes. You can get them on Amazon, Walmart, just about everywhere.
What do they cost, Rick?
They can go anywhere from $30 to $35 up
That's not
to
bad.
$80, $90.
Oh, not a bad investment then. Not too bad.
Not at all. It's a good thing to have, and it's even better if you use it, which I didn't.
Okay.
So thank you for helping us build this platform here for the ladies. We're an important
course,
part of
thank
this
you.
industry.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Eileen.
Stay on the line.
The call didn't come back, so I'm going to go ahead and let everyone know that we do have a dog this morning, and later on in the show, you'll see the video. His name is Max, and he comes to us via video from Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and you can go to Big Dog Ranch, www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and you can take a look at Max, who is a yellow Labrador, and he's 7. And geez, what a great organization they are out there at Big Dog Ranch. If you haven't had a chance to go out and take a look around, geez, it's really worth your while. And then we have our mystery shopper coming up from Schumacher. So my young lady didn't call back, so we're going to go back to Stu or Rick if you have anything for us.
Well, we always have Anne-Marie's text waiting as soon as I log in, and the first one I always see is Anne-Marie because it's in alphabetical order. Actually, no, she sends the first text. I'm just kidding. Anne-Marie says, "Good morning. I'm hoping you can solve a mystery for me, or at least give a good guess at an explanation. I was driving down the interstate the other day when 4 brand new pickup trucks passed by me. None of them had tags. Not a temporary tag, not a transporter tag, not a dealer plate, nothing. These were showroom fresh vehicles, identical make and model, just different colors. I have no idea what brand they were. Waze did not indicate that there were any police in the area, so presumably the trucks are not stolen or undercover. Number 1, do you have any idea of what was going on? Number 2, do dealers or distributors ever drive brand new vehicles from place to place without any tags or license plates? Just wondering. I have 2 hypotheses, the only ones I can think about, because I read this about 5 minutes ago. 1, they were taking a chance and risking it because it was a short drive, or 2, it was an oversight and then somebody screwed up and didn't put plates on it, because I cannot think of any situation from manufacturer, fleet transfer, anything where you're driving a vehicle on the roads without a license plate. That would be illegal.
I think what happens is the cops in the vicinity of car dealerships are so used to seeing salespeople and customers having demonstration drives that it's not worth their time. And the problem is there's such a high turnover in car dealerships that once they explain it to one salesman, the next one is going to do the same thing. So if you're it's kind of bad for the dealers, because if you are a thief, you can hop in a car and be driving as long as you don't get too far from Automotive Row.
Do we have a delay here? Earl just told all the car thieves how to do it.
Exactly.
It sounds more like a dealer trade, having 3 brand new cars on an interstate driving together. So it sounds like somebody was ground stock trading between dealerships, and they forgot to put the plates on. That's my guess.
Okay, we're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Connie, who is calling us from Central Florida. She's a first-time caller. Welcome to the show, Connie.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Good morning, Connie. You won yourself
good morning.
$50 this morning, and when we're finished speaking, if you would stay on the line and give Jeremy in the control room your contact information, he can pass it along to me, and I'll get that check out to you. I want to thank
Hey,
you
thank
for
you very-
helping us build the female audience, and it's off to a great start this morning. Thank you, Connie. What
Thank
can
you.
we do for you?
Thank you very much. Yes, I have a question for Rick. I just bought a 2023 Toyota RAV4 hybrid, and it now has almost 6,000 miles. And I read that the first oil change is at 10,000 miles now. Isn't it supposed to be 5,000?
Nope.
What should I do?
Your first tire rotation is due at 5,000 miles, and first oil change at 10.
Okay, so what happened to the old every 5,000 or 6 months oil changes?
Well,
Is that-
synthetic oil happened. With synthetic oil, it's every 10,000 miles. So you still come in every 5,000 miles for a tire rotation, and then every other tire rotation, you're getting an oil change as well.
I see. So it doesn't in any way reduce the longevity of the car. I plan to keep it until the wheels fall off.
Not at all.
Oh,
Probably
Interesting.
lasts longer now.
Well, actually, remember with a hybrid, the gasoline engine doesn't run all the time, so it's actually getting less than 10,000 miles, but they still keep it and change it every 10,000.
I see. Interesting. Okay. Is there anything else I need to do special because it's a hybrid
Enjoy it.
in terms of
Connie, that's a really great question. Is there anything else you have to do? It's amazing how the vehicles are being built today, and because you decided to spend a little more for a hybrid, in the long run, the cost of maintenance is going to be, well, you're definitely going to see a great savings, and you made a great choice. And there's, in the Consumer Report, there's more talked about hybrids, EVs, and the cost initially that you're going to spend on a vehicle. But applying your negotiating skills will also help in that aspect. But the money that you're going to save yearly. So,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. It was actually serendipitous because we had to replace our very old van, which we love, but we were waiting for a RAV, and it took forever, as you know.
Yes.
And this was last year, and one came in, but we couldn't pull the trigger because we were in the middle of a big decision. And so then we had to wait for another one, which was several months later. And then a hybrid came up as an option, and I never even thought about it. And the hybrid was going to come in maybe a little bit sooner or something. So I thought, okay, why not? And it's been the best. Oh, my goodness. It drives amazing. It's just a great car.
Yeah, well, it's great, isn't it? Whenever you make a decision and you realize how happy you are that you made that decision and you made a good one.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks for the advice. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Connie. Spread the word. We want to build
I
a
will.
platform here for the ladies. 877-960-9960. And you can text us at 772-497-6530. And you can get in touch with us also at youranonymousfeedback.com. I've tried to mention this every week, Saturday in, Saturday out, about Big Dog Ranch. And if you don't know it, you know that Big Dog Ranch is the largest cage-free, no-kill shelter in the United States. And what a job that they do out there. They take in dogs that are abused, abandoned, anything that you can think of, neglected. And, the shelters are overwhelmed right now with so many dogs. So you could do your part by, adopting or fostering. But I'll get back to that later on. We're going to go back to Stu.
Okay. We have another similar question, and this is from Bob. Can a hybrid car sit for 3 weeks without a trickle charger?
3 weeks would be pushing it a little, but I think it'd still be safe.
I'm going to say yes, and I have a real-world experience on this.
Because it will go into sleep mode. The smart key system and all the computers, after they've sat for several days, they will go into a sleep mode. and it'll basically stop automatically looking for the
okay.
keys.
So sleep mode is
So-
good.
Right, because then when you come up to the car, if you use the remote and actively press the button, it'll
Wake it up.
almost immediately. But when you come up and grab the door handle and try to use the smart entry like
It
that,
won't?
it may not activate the first couple times. You may have to
Interesting.
grab it a couple times to
Okay.
get it to wake up.
Well, that happens sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. No, my real world experience is my daughter has a Camry hybrid, and she's off at college, and her car sits in the driveway. And it had been definitely over 3 weeks, and I had to use it. And so I went in there and opened up, started, and drove it.
Is
I didn't
that
listen
right?
to your advice, Rick. You're supposed to have somebody exercise the car.
Yeah.
But it got some exercise.
I have a hybrid question for Rick, too. I hadn't driven, Nancy and I hadn't been in the Crown of the new Toyota hybrid. And when I got my flat tire in my Tesla yesterday, I had to drive another car home. So I drove the Crown. We hadn't driven the Crown. And I didn't notice the automatic braking from the accelerator that I get in the Tesla. Of course, the Tesla is all EV, but
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's still kind of designed to feel like a regular gas car.
Yeah.
You take it off and you'll coast.
yeah,
It
but
doesn't have the-
you don't feel the braking on the hybrid.
Not
it
nearly
was
as
very
much on the
quiet.
Crown, especially.
Yeah.
I've driven one a little bit. Just had to take one out for a test drive that I kind of extended into like a 3 to 5 mile drive because I got to tell you, that's a nice car.
Well, I was driving
It's-
it, and I said, Nancy says, "Is this a hybrid?" I said, "I don't think so," and then I said, "Oh, yes, it is,"
Yeah.
because
It
I
is
saw
so quiet.
Yeah, but it was the automatic braking was totally undetectable.
You know,
Yeah,
even
it's a
on your
very comfortable
Tesla,
car.
there's a mode you can go in. There's a braking mode if you want to like dig
Yeah.
down into the thing, and you can adjust it so it doesn't have that as intense of that automatic braking.
Oh,
that-
I like it.
Oh yeah, I played around with it, and I went back to the just the way it comes because you use it as a brake, and it's I think it's more efficient way to drive a car.
Yeah.
So, Rick, to your answer about the hybrid and how long you can leave it set. So here's another aspect, another plus. If you compare the hybrid to the combustion car, there again, less maintenance. With my Avalon, it has to be exercised. It has to be driven. And I certainly can't wait 3 weeks because my car will be dead. But with the hybrid, as you pointed out, it's a good thing.
It falls asleep.
Okay, excuse me, Stu. We're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Jess, who's calling us from Pompano Beach. And she is a first-time caller. And she has won herself $50 this morning. And I'm going to break the rules this morning. And we usually only have 2 new female callers. So if you stay on the line, Jess, after we're done talking, you can give Jeremy your contact information, and I'll get that $50 out to you. Welcome, Jess, and congratulations.
Okay, I don't know if I got the name right. My name's Ellen, but I am from Pompano.
Pardon me?
I guess I am Ellen from Pompano Beach.
Aaron from Pompano.
Ellen.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe. Okay, I just bought a new 2023 Toyota Camry, and I had the most horrible experience I had ever had at a dealership.
Oh, my.
Basically, I'm venting, but I don't know if there was anything I could have done. I had done all my homework with the MSRP. I did it for a couple of days. Friends had offered them, to offer their brothers or husbands to go with me, and I said, no, I got it. I'm okay. And I went there, and first of all, they put down, I had a 2008 Solera convertible. They put that down. They said, oh, that's like a piece of junk. It's only worth $100. Then they had options on there over $2,000, and they were nothing was negotiable. And they told me to leave at one point if I didn't like it. And
my
I
God.
didn't even have another car. I would have had to Uber it to go, I could have done that. And then they had this $5,000 market thing on there for the market. So,
Ellen,
I know I felt like I got eaten up. I'm just very upset over it,
Ellen, would you care to share who you dealt with Was it in
Okay.
Fort
All right, I didn't
Lauderdale
know
or
that.
up here?
No, it was Coconut Creek.
Coconut Creek?
Oh,
Yeah, Al
wow.
Hendrickson. Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
not terribly surprising.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I was dealing with a dealer in Pompano, and they didn't have the car, and they kept saying it's coming in, And I
Right.
just had been
Yeah.
10 days without a car, and I guess when I went on the computer, other dealers saw that I was looking, and they contacted me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered. And
Ellen, were
know.
you in the dealership with a friend or alone?
No, I went by myself. I had friends. I was there 6 hours. I didn't want to do that to a friend, to hang around
Right.
for that time.
I understand.
And I really thought that I bought cars before by myself, and I thought I could do it.
Yeah.
And,
At what
Hey, would you
point
like
did
to
they
come
ask
get
you to
tortured
leave,
with me
Ellen?
for 4 hours? Sure.
excuse me,
At what point did they ask you to leave?
halfway through when I was asking about, that I was wanting to negotiate like
Yeah.
the options and the different prices. Like I said, I was okay with the MSRP. Like if I had an idea of what that should be. But
Yeah.
When
It
did
sounds
this
like
happen?
It sounds like as if that they were intimidated by your knowledge.
Well, whatever it was, and then now in retrospect, because they kept saying the salesperson, I have to check with my boss, and they would probably go off, and they say, oh no, he won't go $1 less. Now I'm thinking there probably was no other person he was checking with.
Maybe not. When did this happen? What was this? In the last,
About a week ago.
About a week
or
ago.
4 days.
Yeah.
The car's brand new. I mean,
they've that dealership changed hands. When was that? A
Couple of months ago.
A couple of months ago. I guess they're going to keep the same business model
It
going.
was Al Hendrickson Toyota. They kept the name, but it's now owned by the Morgan Group, and they just like a Rego group car dealerships in Palm Beach County and I guess in Broward too.
Yep, Fort Pierce.
Morgan Group. It's a large group. They're like 10th or 12th biggest in the country now. But the operation apparently hasn't changed because Al Hendrickson was pretty rough with their customers too.
and yet supposedly they're one of the biggest. So I mean, I don't know.
They
They
are
are.
like number 2 or 3 in the country.
And, USA, they're huge. They're 1,000 cars a month.
Yeah. They don't do it by they're not known for great customer service. They're known for having a huge inventory and a lot of advertising.
Yeah, that's a tough area down there, Ellen, and I want to tell you that I'm terribly sorry for what you had to go through. But it sounds like as if that, as I said earlier, you're pretty knowledgeable, and they were intimidated by the fact that you were a woman and that you were knowledgeable. So I guess you could, run with that. It's just unfortunate that this just still happens in the 21st century.
Yeah, I really thought, that I'd be able to do it. I mean, you should be able to go into a place and, and I had my paperwork and they put down everything I said, that's not true and that's not true. Whatever it was, they knocked it down. And I guess if I had my car, another car there, I probably would have left.
We recommend that you don't go into dealerships these days. It's too bad an experience as you found out the hard way. Online, if you're not comfortable with online shopping, you might have a relative, a son, a daughter, a grandson that could help you with that. But you can do now more quickly, more safely, and purchase a new vehicle online. When you go into the dealership today, it's a seller's market, especially with Toyota. And they have customers lined up. So they're in this case here, they're just rude to a customer. Why? Because they can afford to be. Because if they frighten one customer away through rudeness or lack of transparency, there's another customer right behind wanting to buy the same car. So it's a really rough time to go into a car dealership, whether it's Al Hendrickson Toyota or any dealership. Online buying is the best way to go.
Right. Yeah. But shouldn't everything basically be negotiable?
Everything, absolutely negotiable. And I'd be curious. I already know the answer, but I'd like to do a little test drive down there at that particular dealership with a gentleman walking in and see if the same technique, which is deplorable, would be applied to him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they were very nice on the phone trying to get me there.
Yeah, that's how the game's played. We got to get them in the door. Ellen, thank you so
Yeah.
much for the call. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And there's a lot of ladies listening, and you've done a whole lot this morning for the ladies, and I thank you for that. Stay with Jeremy, get your information to him, and I'll get the check out to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being able to at least
Thank you,
vent
Ellen.
and hear from
We're
other
gonna
people.
we're gonna go to Rick. I got the heads up that you've got some YouTubes.
Well, we did have one comment quick from Donovan. He said he called it on that strike. He said he knew that one was coming.
Yeah, I believe that.
Well, I was right.
Donovan knows it
I
all.
was wrong. Donovan was right. That's correct.
Morning, Donovan.
I didn't think it was going to happen. After the fact, it occurred to me that, well, it didn't occur to me because I read it in Automotive News that they felt that the big three had anticipated the strike and built up inventories. I was thinking the inventories were building up in the big three simply because supply and demand were catching up. Apparently, according to Automotive News, they think that they actually pushed the overtime, pushed the production because they were anticipating the strike. And the reason you anticipate a strike, if you're a manufacturer, is you know that you're going to stick to your guns. So General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis said, hey, we're going to dig in our heels, and our dealers have got enough cars, and we can get by a few weeks, call the union's bluff, and now it's a Mexican standoff to see who's going to blink.
Like Earl said, boy, there's a huge gap between the union demands and the contract talks, and unbelievable. Over 13,000 went on strike. Is that accurate? That'd be a good number. 13,000. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to John in Palm City, who's a regular caller. Good morning, John, and welcome.
Good morning. The batteries came up today with the trickle charges, and I have a question to Rick. Like Florida law, when it's raining, you have to keep your lights on. So many people, I see it, not many, but some of them, they go to work or they leave the car after it's parked, and they leave the lights on. So naturally, the battery, you need a jumper, all right? Either AAA or your insurance company, whatever. But after it's jumped and it gets running again, is it wise to put a slow charge in the battery or a fast charge? I mean, is one better than the other for the battery? That's a question for Rick.
Actually, my best recommendation is take the car out for a good long drive. When a battery's been depleted, it just needs a good steady charge to build it back up. I tell people to picture a battery as like a big barrel of water. And when you start the engine, you're taking a big scoop of water out of it, and the alternator has to put that back in just by trickling it in. And most people don't have any way of charging a battery at home anyways. Most people don't have a battery charger or trickle charger. So take the car out and just find a nice country drive and get a good hour's driving time in to really give that battery a chance to recharge.
Okay, second part of the question. I've only heard of it once in my life, and the people, when they jumped it, they had the cables reversed. So it not only did damage, but they said the actual battery blew up. In all your years as a mechanic, have you ever heard of a battery blowing up?
I've seen it happen many times.
Okay.
Connecting the cables backwards, usually you'll spot it within an instant, because just as you start to touch, it'll throw some big sparks. And most people, it's that accidental one quick touch, and it usually blows a bunch of fuses, and sometimes can actually even damage computers in the car. So you have to be very, very careful not to hook those cables up backwards, because you can damage not only your car, but also the other person's car that you're connected to.
Okay, one fast thing too about batteries. With the warm weather now, people, when they get it serviced or do it on their own, make sure that the connection, both positive and negative, especially with this heat and humidity, that there's no corrosion or nothing forming around the contact cables. Very, very important. It should either get a lubricant on it or a spray or something to prevent the buildup from the corrosion around the terminals.
Yep. As to
Any
prevent,
recommendation, what you would say to put on it, Vaseline or some compound?
I use a simple battery protector spray, or just plain old axle grease with a brush will help protect it. But the important thing is to make sure that you keep the battery clean, the top of the battery. There's an old wives' tale that if you put a battery on a concrete floor, it'll discharge. Well, it's a plastic case. Plastic does not conduct electricity. What happens actually is the dirt and grease on the top of the battery actually gets a small connection between the two terminals. And when a car is just sitting, if that battery is all covered in dirt and grease on top, it actually will have a small current going through that, and that will actually drain the battery. So if you keep it nice and clean, you won't have that condition. And of course, keep something on the terminals to keep the air away from them so they don't oxidize and you don't get that corrosion.
Well, thank you for your tips. Very important.
Very welcome.
Thank you, John.
Thanks a lot, John. We'll talk to you
I have
next
a
week.
question for Rick on that subject. When you, is there an instrument on any car you know of that will give you the amount of charge on the battery? You have a check battery or thing like that if it's low, and of course if it won't start, it's real low. Why don't they have some sort of a gauge that says you have a full charge?
Well, they don't really have an actual gauge that can determine how much charge is in the battery, because that requires what's known as, in the old school, it used to be a carbon pile tester, and now it requires a special, rather expensive battery tester.
So the answer is no. No car has a
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You might have
the reason I ask, we get a lot of calls, and we say, should I slow charge it? Should I drive the car? Should I do a quick charge? And sometimes you do a charge, but you didn't put enough charge on, so next day your car's dead. So I think it would be nice. I'm speaking to the manufacturers that are paying absolutely no attention to me, but I'll say it anyway. Why not come up with a gauge of some kind that say fully charged, 90% charged, 75% charged, and that way when you ask your neighbor to drive the car, you don't say drive it about 20 miles, say drive it till it's fully charged and put it back in my garage.
That would be a great idea.
One other thing, you used the expression when you're talking to John from Palm City that I have to ask, is this politically correct today? You said an old wives' tale. Now, is that a chauvinist kind of a thing?
I think so. I never thought of it before, but
Old wives' tale.
you putting it on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it conjures, stereotypical images and that are offensive.
Well,
Yes,
I use the expression, and
Who said it? I wasn't paying attention.
I use it all.
Rick
I
said
use
it?
it all the
I
time.
apologize for
Rick
that.
said it?
No,
I probably
no.
should have found a
No,
better,
I'm just-
better expression for that.
Yeah,
Urban
sitting-
legend.
Sitting next to Nancy, I have to be careful.
Well, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think we should all be careful of our language because it's very impactful.
Okay.
Well, see, she
I
can't
think-
reach me. She can reach you, Earl.
She can throw things, though.
Well, that's true,
and,
too.
and I know she can.
I have to say that it's everybody's just a little too thin-skinned. So at any rate, we're going to go to enough said 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Take advantage of it. We're going to go to Jersey Mike, who is a regular caller from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Jersey
Hello
Mike.
there. Good morning. First of all, I'll say that I went to Peggy Adams and I did adopt a dog.
Hey,
It's a beautiful
Oh,
dog.
how nice.
congratulations.
You're
Well,
quite
thank you
welcome.
very much.
I have a dog myself, but I got it for a roommate who was heartbroken when he lost his dog. So I picked up a small dog, and I have another dog here. That's my dog, and those two get together. They just have a ball together. I got a nice yard. They run around,
That's
Any
going to
kids,
pick
like
him up real
automobile-
soon.
Yeah, really, really great place. You know what's nice over there? I'm a veteran, and I didn't get the show to sponsor it, but I got a 50% deduction. So
Yeah.
Wow.
if you're a veteran, just let them know. They'll give you 50% off of anything you buy there.
That's great.
Yeah, we should have mentioned that. I'm so glad you brought that up. We saw the whole production they've got for providing dogs for wounded veterans, and they have beefed that up now where they're, I think they're turning out like 40 or 50 dogs a year. Very intensive. They have a lot of trainers now, but I forgot about the veterans discount. So you say it's 50%?
Yes, it is.
Great.
And,
usually veterans discounts are 10% if you go to Dunkin' Donuts, but they give you 50% when you go to the
Dogs are better than donuts. It's even better deal.
You can find all kind of discounts, and it's amazing. I don't know what they do where Peggy Adams, but out at Big Dog Ranch, they really have a program. It's very lengthy. It takes a year to train and to get this human-animal bond, while providing a second chance for both. For the veteran and the dog.
And my dog's a service dog. The one I adopted for my friend, of course, is not. But mine, he gets a free airplane seat when I go flying,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Plus, he can go anywhere as long as he's not causing a commotion. They can't deny his entrance.
Very good.
That's a federal law.
Excellent.
But you have to be with him, right?
Yes, of course.
You can't send him out for groceries or anything.
No. I got to be with him, but he gets his own seat.
But you better let him know that. He might try to take off without say, I got to be with you.
So let me get. I know your time's precious, as everyone's is, because it's the one commodity that nobody can buy, no matter how rich you are. You can't buy time. So let me ask you this question. I have a 95 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. And it ran fine for many, many years. It's a second owner. I bought it from a close friend. It even has the manufacturer's tags in the trunk, believe it or not. It's got 83,000 miles on it. And it ran fine. Now, what happened was it was an attempted break-in, and they didn't know how to handle this car. The people who broke into it, and they just screwed up the steering column. And I had to put a whole steering column in there. I got a steering column. You guys recommended Cadillac Heaven. I went there, and I'm sorry, you didn't recommend it. The insurance company recommended Cadillac Heaven for old car stuff for Cadillacs in South Carolina. Got it here. Had a mechanic put it in here in a private shop, a good shop. Once it got put in there, here's where the problem started. He had 3 different people come there to program the keys, because they have a chip in the key, these old Cadillac keys. They're not a key fob. It's a regular key with a chip in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And of course, the other column that I got came out of a used car place, okay? It wasn't new, of course. And because you can't get a new one. You can't even get it from Rock Auto. It's just too old, all right? And initially, when I sent it to the Cadillac dealer over here in West Palm Beach, they'll be nameless, but there's only one that people know about. Yeah. They said, it's too old. We can't work on it. Yeah. How about that one? Okay? Well, anyway, make a long story short if I can, I had 3 guys go and try to program that key, and they said they can't do it. I ended up having to give that private repair shop $950.
Oh, man.
For that work that didn't succeed. So I had the car towed back over here via AAA, and I even had to pay $100 for that because I was beyond my 3 freebies, okay, even though I give them $150 a year, and I've been doing that for 20 years anyway, and I never even used AAA over all those years. So anyway, my point simply is, how do you shut out this VATS, VHATS system?
I haven't had experience with it, but
I'm a motorhead. I'm a motorhead, so I can do that. I've been doing that since I was 17 in Jersey.
As I recall, a couple weeks when you called in, Donovan or somebody else had come up with some info for it. Let me see what my YouTube guys pop back up, but I'm pretty sure that system can be bypassed.
I was told to go to some Cadillac clubs, which I did, and that's what you told me last time we talked. And they don't know how to do what I need to do. So I'm really at a loss. The car is a precious vehicle. I'd like to take it to car shows and what have you. I can't do it because it doesn't go out of my driveway.
That was last Saturday that you called, right? And
Yes.
asked, you were inquiring about that, and Rick had
Yes.
told you to go to the Cadillac clubs.
Yep.
What do you think, Rick?
I'm going to have to do some research. That we're going to have to Google on. I'm hoping that one of my YouTube guys will pop up with something, but
Yeah,
that one,
if that happens later on in the show.
I mean, there's 3 circuit boards, rather 3 fused circuit boards in that car. 2 in the trunk and 1 in the engine. No, wait, sorry. 1 in the passenger side underneath the dashboard there. 1 inside the engine compartment and 1 in the trunk. Can I find the right fuses? The ones in the trunk are marked what fuses they are. But it does. I've looked. I don't see anything that says VATS on it. So maybe it goes by a different name.
well, Negan 1 says if you talk to a stereo install place, remote start can get around that system.
I go to a stereo place.
Right. Places that install custom stereos and alarm systems, and they have the
there's
remote
one right
start.
Over here on one right over here on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard.
Yeah, because if they've got that, if they can install it like a remote start system, they should. He says that will get around the VAT system.
So they know how to get around the VAT system in order to install a remote control system, I take it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I knew one of my guys here would have it, but yeah, that's coming from Negan 1. He's out in Arizona, and he's a motorhead, all right, because he loves the Ford Raptors and the Ram TRX trucks. He's got several of them that he owns.
Funny you should say Arizona. I sent my 3 children, who are grown people now, in their 40s and 50s, to the University of Arizona, one of the greatest schools in the entire United States.
Is that right?
Yeah, U of A has 7,000 students in 28 different colleges on campus.
Wow.
And they all graduated. Yep.
And
They're
Unbelievable.
set for life. That was a long time ago, because I'm 77.
now Earl's got a YouTube video up for 2013 to 16 Cadillacs, how to program the remote key fob. But what year's yours?
95.
Yeah, it's a 1995.
95, okay.
Yeah,
So yours is a much older system.
It's a key. It's a key with a chip in it.
Yeah. I'd go back and search YouTube on it, but that VAT system, I guarantee there's a way around that.
I didn't know YouTube does automobile stuff. I thought that was just like music and
Oh,
whatever.
no. It's just a general advice for life. It's everything.
Yes.
Anything you want to ask a question,
Sounds like
there's a video.
Sounds like it's better than
explaining.
Google. It sounds like it might be better than Google.
It
then,
is the second largest search engine in the world after Google,
okay.
and it's owned by Google.
all right. Oh, is it? Oh, there you go. Well, you know what a Google is? 'Cause I'm a math major, all right? A Google is something that's a big number, not quite infinitely big,
Right.
but it is that big. And
I
you
think
can
it
go out there,
spells
believe it or not,
GOOGOL.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
can
a 1
you know
with
why
100 zeros after it.
Google.
No, it's more than that. Trillions of zeros after that, but not quite infinite. Okay.
Well.
Anyway.
Well, we're getting
Nice
into
talking
the
to you.
stratosphere here.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you for your help. I'll go ahead and pursue it.
Oh, you're
And,
welcome, Jersey Mike.
Johnny Z. Fradley says that Tint World can possibly help because they install alarms.
Okay, there you go.
Tint. There's a Tint World within 5 minutes from my house.
There you go.
There we go.
Huh.
Okay.
You wouldn't think that somebody puts tint on a Windows.
Well,
do
if they do
something
alarm
electronic.
systems.
Yeah, they got to change the name.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Not a
Thank you
good
very
name.
much for your.
Hey,
for
it's
your
always a
information.
pleasure talking to you, Jersey Mike.
Okay. Take
Stay
care.
tuned
Have a
for our
good one.
mystery shopping report. We shopped Schumacher Volkswagen. Okay, we're going to go back to Rick, and we're going to go back to Stu, so he can finish up some of this.
Well, because I have a good anonymous feedback that came in, and it's not too long, but I want to get it before the phones blow up again. I got a good one for you. My buddy has been leasing a Kia Sportage, and at the end of the term, decided to purchase it. I told him all of what you said in the video, talking about our Earl on Cars videos on YouTube, but he still got taken for over $2,000 above the lease contract purchase price. They told him they couldn't let the car go without a safety inspection. That turned into 4 new tires, front end work, which I suspect didn't need to be done. Then they got him for a dealer fee and dock fee because all their car purchases have these fees, which is required by the government, they told him. By the way, this was Bev Smith Kia in Fort Pierce. I tried to talk him into getting a copy of the law you referenced here and try to get that money back. He said he didn't want any trouble and the stuff they charged him for seemed legitimate. This is why dealers can get away with this stuff. You're doing your part, but people have to put away their subservient ways and get tough, because dealers sure are getting tough and mean. They are not your friend. Unfortunately, purchasing an automobile is an adversarial relationship, no matter how nice the dealership employees seem to be. This might be one you can mention on the radio show, and there you go. It was just mentioned, and we did identify the dealer, and that was Bev Smith Kia in Fort Pierce, Florida.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk lawsuit. You can probably talk to a lawyer in your area. If not, we can get you the name of a couple of lawyers in Fort Lauderdale. They're the ones that really jumped onto this thing and got the attention, believe it or not, of the Attorney General, Ashley Moody. I mean, she kind of ignores anything bad that car dealers do, but these lawyers, and the name, their names right now slip my mind, but I can get that information for you. There is a federal law. It's the Consumer Leasing Act of 1976. It's real simple to understand, and lawyers like simple stuff. It basically says if you lease a car and you have an option to purchase, you cannot be charged 1 penny more than that option purchase price. So in your lease contract, that was your price that you would have to pay, and everything that Bev Smith Kia charged you on top of that, which sounds like thousands of dollars, they owe you back. Now, the good news for you and the bad news for Bev Smith Kia is that they also have to pay attorney's fees. So what you might want to do is get hold of what's his name at Bev Smith.
Frank Gonzalez.
Frank Gonzalez. Contact Frank Gonzalez at Bev Smith Kia. He's a general manager, and explain to him that you spoke to me, Earl on Cars, and what I had said, and that you think that he probably should give you all your money back over and above the option purchase price that you paid. If not, you're going to have to hire an attorney, in which case then Bev Smith Kia will have to pay the same thing they could have paid you, plus the attorney's fees. So I believe if you can get through to Frank Gonzalez, he will write you out a check pretty quick.
Probably he doesn't want any trouble.
Exactly, that's exactly right.
We have a phone call.
We do. And our number here is 877-960-9960. And also you can text us at 772-497-6530. Jot that text down. You'll need it, that text number down. You'll need it later when we do the mystery shopping report, because it's so important that we hear from you and that you grade the mystery shopping report. That Agent Lightning, wow, she is amazing. And of course we have Stu. So there's 2 geniuses here that put this all together. So 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Frank, who's a regular caller from Jupiter Farms. Good morning, Frank.
Well, good morning, Nancy, and all the rest of the gang there in the radio station today.
Hey.
Just want to say hi. One of the things I noticed, we went away on a cruise up in Alaska for a few weeks. But on the way to the airport, I just sent it to the cell number. Was an interesting tag I saw waiting in line in the car. It takes about 45 minutes to go from I-95 to the airport. It says "Drive Tesla." Do you recall seeing that little license plate come through the text?
No.
It was interesting. I thought about you guys. I'll resend if I have to.
Drive Tesla.
And then on the cruise, Drive Tesla. You'll see it. I'll resend it again.
Okay.
But I thought of you guys immediately when I saw that tag. I said that would have been a great one for you guys.
Yeah.
I just saw the. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I did. I'm sorry. I saw the forklift. I didn't. There's a picture before that. DRV Tesla. No, I haven't seen that tag driving around.
Yeah, I thought of you immediately, and anyway,
No, Earl
it's
doesn't
fun
have
to
he doesn't have a vanity plate.
vanity plane.
But he does on the front because it identifies the car as Miss Nancy. That's the name of the car.
Yes, it is.
Oh, how nice. Well, that's cool. But anyway, yeah, and
And
other picture
the other one was
forklift.
the forklift. We have one, the exact same forklift for our parts department and for deliveries. Yeah, it's propane powered, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Exactly. Yeah, in fact, I guess some of they use more often have actually 2 propane tanks where they don't have to stop and change them out.
Probably,
Anyway.
probably need more propane at that port than we do at our little parts department.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great cruise. I missed your podcast, but I'm back in town and just want to say hi. And if you guys, I know that one lady I heard had her problem with going to a dealership by herself. I'm still one of your, what do you call it?
Oh, you're a vigilante.
Vigilantes. Yeah, so I mean, feel
Well, she
free
didn't
to
buy a
continue to reach
car.
out.
If that was Eileen, right?
Eileen.
I
Yeah, I think
believe
it was
so.
Eileen. Yeah, if Eileen, if you're still listening, we do have help out there. So you didn't go and buy that car. So if you're still looking, Frank is willing and ready and willing.
Yeah. And then real quick, and I'll leave it because I was down the street seeing a Dr. Caminester for dermatology, excellent guy, but he's anyway. The nice thing being down the street, I sometimes stop and just see how things are at your dealership and get him maybe a cup of coffee. But it's nice seeing cars on the showroom once again, mostly electric cars, but it's a fabulous dealership and
Thank
it's
you.
always a pleasure to stop by there. So
Thank you.
with that, I'll be quick and easy. No other comments. And you have a wonderful weekend and
Thank you so much,
good luck
Frank.
to the doggies.
Thank you,
Take
Frank.
care, guys. Bye bye.
All right.
Okay, we're going to go back to Stu.
Oh, okay. We have, okay. This is from Roy in Denver. And he asked, for snowbirds traveling to and from Florida for the winter and summer, there used to be a car train option where customers could load their vehicles onto a train and the customer rides in coach cars in the same train from the northeast to Florida. Is this still in existence, and does anyone have experience with this? It is. I don't know if it changed, but it's Amtrak, and it goes...
the auto train.
Yeah, Auto Train, but it's run by Amtrak, isn't it? It goes from Orlando to D.C., isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. So I don't know if it went further before, but
I don't know.
for some reason I thought that it did go to New York, but maybe people drive down and just take the bulk of the trip off the car. But yeah, if you just go, I Googled it and it was just it's Amtrak Auto Train. They still do that, and let's see.
By the way, you know who else drives a Tesla Plaid and has a vanity plate?
Who?
The vanity plate reads Law Team, Jeffrey Fetterman.
Oh, really?
No,
saw him the other day.
Associates. They're right
Really?
down the street from the
Yeah.
dealership. Yeah, I thought you were going to say Willie Gary or something like that.
He's got it's the nice dark gray one.
Yeah.
Nice looking car, but had a little plaid sticker on the back of it there, and like, oh, okay.
They used to have a Supra iridescent painted Supra, so when you drove past it, you remember the thing? It changed.
Yes.
It was depend on the angle, it just changed
It was
colors. It was very
a
bizarre.
95 or
It was
96
an old, yeah, is that
that he
90s?
had. I worked on it quite a few times.
Oh, did you?
I got a anonymous feedback here. I guess inspired by the one I read about the Kia Sportage. Bev Smith Kia says, I had a horrible shopping experience at a Morgan-owned Honda dealership. Horrible. I came in alone, single female. Had a salesman who could be my son walk me through several cars and then got me to sit at his desk to work a deal. I told him prices were out of my budget and I'm looking at other brands. He scoffed at me and said, where are you going to get a car you want and the price that you want? He was extremely condescending. Called his manager. Manager kept me waiting in the lobby while he and his friends were chatting around the computers. It was horrible. I was completely traumatized, treated like trash, accused of lying to them for wasting their time. Here's a quote. You lied to me when you said you were here to buy a car. And that's the quote they told her. Absolutely terrible. Thing is, my then car was always serviced at another Morgan-owned dealership. After this experience, I decided to take my service business elsewhere. Beware Morgan. Wow, that was a
You get too
scathing.
big. You just that's the
Very
problem.
much so.
We badmouth dealers a lot on this show, and when you have a dealer that's got 12, 14, 25 dealerships, his crime is trying to get too big. He probably doesn't know 10% of the things that happen. I mean, how can you?
It's difficult with one.
Yeah.
It's difficult to be good with one.
Yeah.
And so that's, I mean, just to be real, I mean, it's easier for us to do the things that we preach because we don't have 140 dealerships.
And we also have a seller's market. So you have the perfect storm of abuse in car dealerships. First of all, it's a seller's market. Now that means that most of the dealerships, not all of them, but most of them now, used to be all of them, but especially your Asian and your Japanese Korean dealerships are understocked, overpriced, and they add thousands to MSRP. And the salespeople are making a fortune. The managers are making a fortune, and all they have to do is come to work and sit around and drink coffee and check off on the list of the sold orders, and they get thousands of dollars over for every car, because if this customer doesn't take it, the one behind that customer will take it. And so if people are inclined to be nasty, they'll be really nasty when it isn't going to affect their paycheck. And it's just it's a sad situation, and it's the worst I've seen it. Reason I really encourage people, go online. If you go into a dealership today, you're probably going to be abused even more than you ever were before. The salespeople are just...
Stu, did you say
they're
that was
wealthy.
Morgan?
They're independently wealthy.
Morgan?
Morgan Auto Sales, and they have several different locations. Which one was this young lady?
I don't know if they identified the
she didn't say?
location. They just said it was just a Morgan-owned dealership.
It's unusual that she would know that, because Morgan does not put their
Usually
names
on the sign,
dealerships.
right? Yeah.
So she had to investigate a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear from you again.
That was a good move, though. I mean, just to make a statement, I mean, dealers need to hear this, that they do lose business in other aspects of their operation. You can have a bad experience in a service department, have a great sales department, and they stop buying cars from you, and vice versa. So
word of mouth is just amazing. It travels. It definitely travels.
Especially on the radio and streaming live all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we're sorry for your experience, that's for sure.
Okay. We're all caught up on this side of the desk.
Okay. We're going to, I was going to go to Rick, but we'll hold on. We're going to go to Jay, who's been holding from Hope Sound. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning. I'd like to know what your opinion of Toyota of Hollywood is.
Well, it's an interesting dealership. It's been there a long, long time. It's owned by a man named Greg Zen, who was Craig Zen, who was one of the earliest Toyota dealers. And they're also, I think, they vie for Al Hendrickson Toyota at being either number 2 or number 3 in volume in the whole United States. Make that the whole world for a Toyota dealership. In fact, because Toyota outsells all the other dealerships, it's probably the number 1 car dealership, or the number 2 or 3. They are in a very interesting demographic area, and I know the Zen family. I knew his father and his brother, and I've known them for many, many years. They have an international clientele. They have salespeople that speak everything from Swahili to Chinese to Japanese. Literally, they have an international sales force. And they pick up a huge amount of business from Miami, which, as you know, is an international city. Now, as far as do I recommend them or not recommend them, they're down in the heart of the worst rock'em sock'em lie, cheat, steal car dealership market in the world. They're not the worst, but they hold their own. And it's tough. They do a huge amount of advertising. And think of the control you have if you're Japanese or Korean or Vietnamese, if you are someone whose native language is not English, and maybe you don't even speak English. Well, there's one place you can go, and that's Hollywood Toyota, and there'll be somebody that'll speak Vietnamese for you or speak whatever your language. They have a huge sales force, sell a huge number of cars, probably 1,000 a month, new, and then another who knows how many used. So it's my advice, if you can. If you can speak English, it would be to go somewhere else. if you can't speak English.
I stopped in there about 2 years ago, and it is a huge, massive dealership.
Yeah.
But I'm always hearing their advertisements, and last night they advertised Toyota of Hollywood is having a massive sell-off of 2022 Toyotas. I'm wondering how many 2022 Toyotas they have.
Well, that's BS. See, that's Hollywood style. What they do is they title their cars and put them in their rental company. And they do it on purpose. They don't even rent the cars, but they will title a current year model car and put it on the lot, and now they legally can say this is a used car. So they do that to trick you to come in thinking you're getting a really good buy on a used car. You're buying a new car, and they're going to charge you all the money for it.
And also, I think they said they're advertising in a 2023 Corolla for $16,990.
Yeah.
Yeah, their advertisements are amazing. They've been running those for so long. They really catch your ear. I mean, it's just amazing.
Read the fine print.
That they would have that many vehicles, and you know for sure they don't.
They're experts. Nancy,
get them in the door.
Nancy's exactly right, but they are also careful in terms of legality. And when you find the fine print, which is not easy to find, when you find it, if you read it carefully, they cover themselves in the fine print. Now, if you listen to the show, I know you have, you know that the Federal Trade Commission says that you cannot modify the price of the car in the fine print. That's a federal violation, but who cares? I mean, right? It's hard enough to get local enforcement of laws. State enforcement laws, you don't get that. To expect the Federal Trade Commission to be able to see a car dealership ad in Hollywood, Florida, ain't going to happen. So it's a rough, tough place to buy a car.
And I would imagine that the 2023 Corolla they're saying is for $16,990 is probably a used car.
Well, they title the car. See, in Florida, the definition of a used car is one that's already been sold. So they sell the car to themselves. I mean, how do they get away with it? Why does Ashley Moody, the Attorney General, allow these things to happen in Florida? But they create the used car. It's still a new car for all intents and purposes because it's got no miles on it. It's brand new. Might even have the Maroni label still sticking on the window if they didn't take it off. And so it's a totally artificial deception to get somebody to come in. They say, oh, here's the car here. Oh, it looks new. Well, we put it into our rental company. Well, how come there's no miles on it? Well, we just haven't rented it out yet. And then they hit you with all the hidden fees.
Lewis F. on the...
I'd probably be wasting my time going down there expecting to pay $16,990 for a
Exactly. Do it online, either or by phone. You'll get double talk by the phone. They won't give you any information on the phone, but if you go online, you might be able to text or email and say that you want the specifics. And if you don't get the specifics, you're going to buy the Toyota somewhere else. That might elicit some kind of a dialogue where you can find out what's really going on. But to go in there is just you don't want to treat yourself that badly. That would be
well, unless Jay,
you might be under mental care for a week after you go into Hollywood.
I don't know. Jay sounds pretty strong. Hey, Jay, round up your posse. Go ahead down. Have a little fun if you have some time on a Saturday afternoon. Play with the boys.
Yeah, actually,
show them how you can dance.
I've been shopping around different dealerships probably for the last 2 years, and I'm quick to walk away. So I'm thinking they probably have a poster of me. Beware of this guy. You don't waste your time with him.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. Have a great weekend. We are going to go to Rick.
I had a comment came in from Louis F. I'm guessing about Hollywood Toyota. He says, I passed by a few weeks ago. All their cars had a $20,000 markup plus add-ons and would not negotiate.
20,000. Wow.
That's insane.
Market adjustment.
Hard to believe. Yes, it's crazy. And, when you add all that to the fact that they're number 2 volume or number 3 volume in Toyota sales in the whole world, that tells you a little something about a corrupt retail system. I mean, they're successful beyond the wildest stretches. Craig Zinn makes more money than I don't know who. I mean, he's got to be
Arab
worth.
Sheik.
He's got to be worth $1 billion or more, and with one dealership, and he probably has more I don't know about. So, and he treats his customers the way we're discussing here. And I don't mean him. I mean he doesn't even know what's going on there. He's in Bangladesh or someplace. I don't know where he is. But
Okay.
Probably not
but
Bangladesh.
he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care.
Maybe he's up in Aspen next to Terry Taylor.
Yeah, right. He's probably right. Yeah.
That's a good point. Okay, what do we have, guys? You have some YouTubes? You have
No, all caught up over here.
okay.
We're relatively clear here.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what that means. We're going to go to our dog of the week. How's that
Oh, yeah,
sound?
the dog of the week, sure.
Yeah, we
Dog
have
time.
to. We'll talk about Big Dog Ranch and Max. Max is at the ranch, and he was rescued by owners who were moving and could not take me. They could not take me with him, with them. Aw, this is his story that I'm reading, and I'm very happy and a playful boy. And my most favorite thing is to play in the water. So I would love to have a family with a pool. Oh, excuse me. Oh, he's in good hands out at Big Dog Ranch because, boy, do they have some amenities out there for the dogs. So he's a high energy level dog, and as I said, he is a yellow Labrador. He's a retriever yellow Labrador, and he's 77.6 pounds, and his name is Max.
That's a
And
big dog.
that's a big dog, and he's waiting that big dog with a lot of love, a whole lot of love for a fur family, and he's looking for you. Also, let me mention Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, and if you go to Earl's book or go to Amazon, you can purchase the book for $19.99, and all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. That's all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. And the book, it's been out for a long time, but it's something you want to put on your shelf, and you can always refer to it. It's got so much information in it, and it applies to yesterday and today. So Big Dog Ranch Rescue, you can go to www.bigdogranchrescue.org, and you can see Max and all the other dogs.
See Max in all his glory.
Yes.
In his natural habitat.
Yeah.
Do we have a video?
I'm looking at a picture of him, and he's in the pool out there.
Yeah. Do we have a video?
Video's coming.
Oh, good.
And we have sorry about that, we have a video coming up from Jonathan. Let it roll.
Roll it.
This is Max. Max is a 7-year-old yellow lab. He's a really wonderful dog. As you know, labs have great dispositions. He came to us as an owner surrender. His family had moved away, and he's now looking for a forever family. Something interesting about Max is that like most labs, he loves the water. He would make a great beach dog. He would love to run around, someone with a backyard. Probably someone that could, have enough room to handle, that's it, good boy. A yellow lab that could run around. He's great with simple commands. Can you sit, Max?
He's sitting
Max,
already.
Sit. Good boy, good boy. Yeah, he's very loving, and he's just an absolute gem, and we really hope that we can find him a forever home. You can see he's still very playful, 7 years old. He's still has got a little bit of puppy in him, but he really is an all-around family dog and would make a great addition to anyone.
I wish I was a dog.
I know you've said that since I was a little kid. That Max's face, he's got a human face and a smile.
He's got that big old
Is he
dog.
all? I forgot, Nancy, you read this. Is he all golden retriever?
He's
Or
retriever,
Labrador?
yellow Labrador.
Okay, yeah, he's just a classic dog. You got for you guys listening in the car, in your car or something right now. Just don't close your eyes, but imagine, imagine. Just your classic yellow lab, just sitting there with a big old smile and a pink tongue hanging out.
He looks like he might have a bit of golden retriever in him too.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah,
the tail and his fur looks very soft.
That's what I was going to say.
know.
And he doesn't look like he's 77.6 pounds.
Oh, but that's all
looks like a
muscle
lot of
packed
muscle.
in there.
That's a big dog.
Yeah.
And how old is Max?
Max is 7 years old.
7
He's
years
7
old.
years, 8 months.
You know what the nice thing is about a 7-year-old dog is? They're chill. They're not jumping all over your couch all the time. They'll get the zoomies once in a while, but they're not going to be like. They're
He
not
doesn't
in
like
pain.
cats.
He doesn't like cats.
Doesn't like cats.
Sophisticated.
Yeah, they're sophisticated. They've accumulated 7 years worth of wisdom, which is something like 60 years of human wisdom.
So if you're looking, folks, if you're looking for a beautiful golden retriever, Labrador, you can take a look at the video and just see how pretty Max is, and he has quite a personality.
And how happy he is. That rubs
He's
off.
so
you know.
happy, and he's like as if that he's maybe 4 years old. He's very energetic.
Every time you turn around, they're trying to sell you a book on how to be happy. It's much easier. Don't buy the book, just buy a dog.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a dog. The adoption fee is free for Max.
Yeah, we do.
And even if you don't get Max, they're running a sale now at Big Dog Ranch, half price.
That's right, 50% off all dogs.
Yeah, and we do pay the adoption fee,
Yeah.
as Stu usually tells us every week. He reminds me, because it's so important. It can be expensive purchasing, adopting a dog.
Yeah.
And also you can adopt and you can foster. And remember the Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer and the fact that it is $19.99 and all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. Big Dog Ranch. Thank you.
One little thing I'd like to remind everybody is that you can watch the show. Well, if you're not listening now, well, tell somebody. Point is, if you didn't catch the show, or if you want to go back and hear something again, we got this thing is on YouTube. We just search Earl on Cars, also on Facebook, Earl on Cars, and so you can go back, but you can also share it with somebody. So it's you can send the video to someone who you might be susceptible to falling in love with Max.
Weakened. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Just to share the video. You never know. I think that it's time by the clock for us to go to the mystery shopping report. As I told everyone earlier, you're a big part of the mystery shopping report. We really, love hearing from the audience, whether it's through Rick or Stu or myself. And you can text us at 772-497-6530, and you can, judge or rate, whatever way you want to put it, Schumacher Volkswagen.
Schumacher Volkswagen sits in judgment today.
So back to the recovering car dealer.
Before I get to the mystery shopping report, for all you Elon Musk fans out there, Tesla fans, and that the fan club is growing and growing, there's a new book out, and it's Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson, and there's a cover. And the reason I'm showing you this is I downloaded the book audio a couple days ago, and about halfway through it. It is really an amazing book. Walter Isaacson has done a lot of great biographies. If you've read, he did Steve Jobs. He's done, he goes all the way back to Benjamin Franklin. He does Jeff Bezos. And this is just a great, accurate biography. And he took him 2.5 years to do this, spoke to just about everybody that was influential in Elon Musk's life. And if you think you know Elon Musk, when you get into this book, it's really, really interesting. I mean, I'm one of these people that I buy 5 books and I read one, or I read 10% of one. I'm going to read this whole book because I can't put it down. It is really a great book. Okay, Mystery Shop of Schumacher Volkswagen, and they're in North Palm Beach. I'm going to speak in the first person if I were Agent Lightning, our all-star mystery shopper. The morning sun was blazing at 11:20 a.m. when I walked into Schumacher Volkswagen showroom. It was unusually quiet. I spent a few minutes soaking in the ambiance, but not spotting anyone, I decided to check out the cars outside. Just 5 minutes in the sun, I felt like I had a mini sauna session. And for you folks that are not in South Florida, and I guess it's hot everywhere, but man, let me tell you, it's hot down here in South Florida.
And humid.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I was relieved to be back inside. On my return, the salesman, David, stepped out of his office. He was holding a large red bow, which I assume was for some lucky buyer's car. That's a little trick just about all car dealers do. It's
giant bows.
Yeah, giant red bows.
Giant
Whoever
bows
sells
with
those
magnets.
is making a fortune. Spotting me, the salesman offered, "Hello there. Has anyone attended to you yet?" "No, not yet. I've been scouting for the new Atlas Cross Sport SE. I tell you, the names are proliferating, and I'm way behind on
No,
them."
it's like that. Everything's like that now.
Yeah,
Names for stadiums.
Yeah.
Names for cars.
Yeah. Anyway, this Atlas Cross Sport SE, particularly interested in the tech package. I responded, hoping he'd guide me. He flashed an understanding smile in just a moment. He said, "Let me put this bowl aside, and I'll be right with you." David's desk was a hub of organized chaos. Papers here, computers there, inviting chair for me, scrolled through a system and soon had the inventory details up. Good news. We have a variety of colors. Now, this is good news for you potential buyers, Volkswagen buyers. To walk into a car dealership today and have the salesman for the car you're looking for say, "We have a variety of colors," that's very unusual. I'm not sure why that is, but here it is. He's got blue, silver, white, and red. Fancy the blue one? It's quite the vibrant shade. So actually a selection of the car our mystery shopper went in for. Test drive was interesting. I noticed the Baroni label sitting with dignity on one of the back seats. There's expertise in writing. I love that. You're not supposed to take the Baroni label off. You regular listeners know that. It's federal law to keep it affixed to the window. And by law, only the owner can remove the Baroni label. Well, that's not the case at the Volkswagen dealership owned by Schumacher in North Palm Beach. They take them off and put them in the back seat. There was a noticeable absence of an addendum label. That's good news, an indication of transparency, perhaps. When we returned, David, the salesperson's demeanor shifted to business. Laying out a worksheet, he started to break down the costs. The listed MSRP was $44,946. That's about an average price car, MSRP, which was already catching my eye. But then came the cascade of charges. Initial discount of $1,825. Now, that makes you feel real good, doesn't it? $1,825 discount, and you don't even have to argue. See, it's all designed to get you. After the discount, followed a $39 private tag agency fee.
Let me do this. I'm going to pull this up on the actual thing because I think somehow I I dropped a sentence or two, so I don't have all the charges listed.
Okay.
So let me zoom in here on my actual buyer's order. So yeah, they took a $1,825 discount off of MSRP.
Yeah.
And then they added the first one was little. It was a little $39 private tag agency fee.
All right.
Then they added. This is what I just laughed at.
I have that Bumperdillo.
Bumperdillo.
Yeah.
Bumperdillo for $399. Bumperdillo. It's like an armadillo. Window tint for $399. Sun shield. You have that for $99.95.
Yeah.
Electronic filing agency fee for $379.
Yeah, got that.
Okay, then a $995 dealer doc fee.
$999.
Okay, yeah, that's what I must have accidentally deleted that last sentence. So they added $995 doc fee, dealer fee, and then $550 for the license tag and title.
Okay.
And yeah, so I didn't total it all up, but it's 400. It's 800, 1,700. About $1,800 in
about the amount
fees,
of the discount.
the discount.
Erase the discount. Yeah, you feel good about the discount, then they sneak it back in on you on BS.
Oh my gosh!
Running some quick math, David concluded the total out-the-door price would be approximately $49,207. Of course, that's $5,000 over MSRP, but that includes the tax and tag. To be fair, but that's only about $500 or $600. However, he hinted that the finance department might tweak this a bit. That's unusual. I wonder, do you recall what Agent Lightning actually said about that? Why would a salesman do? You would think that he would not allude to that, but in this case here, he must have said something.
I'm going back to the original field. I'm going back to the original field notes. He says. A little. Okay, let's change a little bit. Once you go to finance, I thanked him for his time set up to leave my husband. Oh, it's no. We'll have to ask her directly about that.
Anyway, it's true. If you go into the finance department, two things are going to happen. They're going to try to sell or sneak onto your contract unwanted. They call them products like gap insurance and maintenance and extended service contracts, and you name it, they've got it in the finance department, and they slip it in sometimes without even telling you, and sometimes they mislead you into buying it.
So David wasn't being dishonest. They might tweak it, but not in your favor.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, it's unusual.
We have a little wiggle room, but we're going to wiggle a little bit higher on that price.
Yeah. I thank David for his efforts and began to rise from my seat. I appreciate your help, I said, stretching out my hand. My husband's currently in a meeting, but I'll discuss everything with him once he's available this afternoon. Uh-oh, David's eyes held a glint of hope. Would you mind waiting just a moment? Our sales manager would love to meet you before you go. Now, that's the rule. And, actually, it's not a bad rule. If you do meet a manager, you can use that introduction to clear up some things that the salesperson may have left off or may have exaggerated or may have just told you an untruth about. But that's not the reason the dealers do it. The dealers do it because it's a second shot at trying to close you. You had the first close was a salesman, and the second close is a sales manager. And that could go back and forth, back and forth. You regulars out there know what I'm talking about. Curiosity piqued, I agreed and settled back into the cubicle's chair. After what felt like a few minutes of leafing through a brochure, I decided to make my way out the exit. This happens often. Agent Lightning tries to slip out the door. However, as I approached the door, David intercepted me, flanked by a tall man in a crispy iron shirt. That's kind of like the Schumacher image.
Yeah.
And the Schumacher image, I would say, the Schumacher dealerships are probably among the best-dressed salespeople and managers, and that goes all the way back to Dick Schumacher, which is Chuck Schumacher's father.
It was required to wear suits for a while, and then it became white shirts and ties.
Yeah, but they were impeccably dressed. I mean, cufflinks and really, really good-looking outfits.
Very dated approach, though. I think these days.
Crisply ironed shirt. I like crisply ironed. It's true. Ah, there you are, Dave explained. Oops.
He caught you.
I noted of relief in his voice. The man with him extended a confident hand. Hi, I'm Terry. Terry and David. These are the kind of names you'd expect in a Schumacher dealership.
I wonder if that was Terry Chapin.
He introduced himself, a warm smile playing on his lips. Thank you for visiting us today. I was hoping to catch you before you left. Is there anything I can do to help you make a decision right now? Tilting my head slightly, I replied, I truly need to discuss it with my husband first. He's tied up in a meeting at the moment. Terry, not one to give up easily, probed, could you possibly try giving him a quick call? It could be worth it. It's always interesting to me when I read these mystery shopping reports, when you really get a dedicated, compulsive type of managers, they will not only recommend calling you, they'll even go, I'll drive you to his house.
His work.
I will find him. You don't know where he is? We'll help you find him.
We'll crash the meeting together. By the way, when you read that, you have a good way. If somebody said that to me, like in your voice, I would call my husband. It was very compelling.
Shaking my head, I replied, no, he's occupied until late this afternoon, but I will mention that I was hoping to get the out-the-door price. The outdoor price would be closer to MSRP. I'm also not thrilled about those add-ons for the sun shield and the window tint. Terry's eyebrows
and the bumper-dillo.
Which, by the way, we didn't read that. It's a piece of tape that they apply to the door edge.
Yeah.
Bumper-dillo.
I saw it on one of the attachments. Terry's eyebrows rose slightly. How about this? If I can offer an additional $2,000 off, bam! So there's two lessons to be learned here. First of all, you don't want to go in the dealership and have to play the game. But if you are going in the dealership, you absolutely have to play the game hard, because when that manager comes out, bam, that's where the discounts happen. And then if the manager doesn't give you a good enough discount the first time, then you got to go the second time. And it's exhausting, and it's mentally and physically.
The goal in that question, when Terry says, how about this? If I could offer an additional $2,000 off, he seal the deal.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care if she says yes or no. He wants to get a number from her. She goes, well, make it $4,000. We can talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he says, so if I take $4,000 off, will you buy it today?
Well,
I learned that from Terry Chapin.
It's classy. It's like they bought and sold horses 200 years ago. That's what it is. The automobile business in classic form right here. Chuckling, I replied, it's a tempting offer, but I really must discuss it with my husband first. Thanks for understanding. I began to turn away when David, his face a tad red, hurried over to me. Ma'am, I'm so sorry, he stammered, extending my driver's license to me. I almost forgot to return this. Please do take it. Now, we don't know. I mean, at a Schumacher dealership, this would not be obvious, but because it is a Schumacher dealership, it could be subtle, meaning that as long as you have that driver's license, you know they're not going to get away. In other words, Agent Lightning was sauntering toward the car. Supposing he wasn't looking, I think that having the driver's license in your shirt pocket enhances the possibility that you'll say, oops, I don't have my driver's license. I better go back. And that way you can't sneak out as readily. Now, maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe that was truly an accident. But I just suggest it would not be something that Schumacher would openly do, but subtly do, I don't know. I took a deep breath, accepting the license with a nod. Thank you, David. I'll be in touch. And there we have another mystery shopping report from Schumacher Volkswagen, North Palm Beach, Florida. And that's a rough, tough area of town for of the state. The whole South Florida is rough, tough. So the Maroni label was in the back seat. I can't see any terribly bad abnormal treatment, but I don't want to prejudice you voters out there. Come up with your votes and see what you think.
Yeah, you can do that at 772-497-6530. You can vote for the Mystery Shopping Report, and Mystery Shop was from Schumacher Volkswagen.
All right, Jonathan and Del Rey. No Monroney sticker? Schumacher Volkswagen gets an automatic F from me. That's a definite sign that there are shenanigans going on. Since this is Volkswagen, I'll say that they're Fahrvergnügen. I give him an F for Fahrvergnügen, if you remember that old marketing campaign from Volkswagen. I'm not going to argue with you, Jonathan. There can be shenanigans, but sometimes I think it's just out of ignorance. I think that sometimes they clean up a car, the detail department pulls it off.
Yeah.
We see it happening too often.
Yeah, it's not premeditated. No.
It's kind of like turn signals. It's the law. You're supposed to put on the turn signal, but 5% of them do it now.
Yeah.
So,
But it says something about our system, our federal system, that has a federal law that everybody knows about, certainly if you listen to this show,
yeah.
and nobody pays any attention to it.
Down in the South, we don't care what the feds say.
Yeah.
All right, this is from Mark. Mark says, too many BS fees, grade is a D. Those are the only two I have in. I was thinking about this last night, how I would grade it, and like you just said, wow, there's not a lot of like things that stand out. It seems to be kind of typical, but you know, with all this, the focus, like with these proposed FTC rules and the Napleton, fine, and the focus on junk fees and the dealer installed options, I don't know if we should be giving it such an automatic slide. Especially if it does turn out in the next couple of years that there is some enforcement, if things actually did change. I think what did it for me was Bumperdillo. I mean, this guy, somebody is actually charging $399 for something called Bumperdillo. It's so absurd, It's just
it's clear plastic tape.
Yeah, it's.
What everybody's doing.
Well, sorry, I'm feeling more like Nancy now.
You just think Bumperdillo is a silly name.
I think it's insulting. It's like. I was thinking about when they're adding the things on and when they make the decisions to put it on there.
If it was a clever name like Simonize, because I think that's very clever. A lot of older people remember Simonize, and we had a mystery shop the other day that had Simonize.
It actually called it Simonize?
Yeah.
I was thinking it's primed for a comeback. Yeah. It should be. I can't give them that. By the way, we have another text. A C minus, slightly below average for the area. That's someone grading on the curve. I'm hitting them with a D. Coming in with a D.
Well, I've got Negan1 says, I say C. I'm hard to impress after all the games I've listened to the dealers pull on this show. And over here we have Tom Steckel, grade D minus. If they use a private tag agency to handle the details, why do they need all the other processing fees? Total deception. Mark Smith, too much deception for their add-ons. D minus. Tim Gilliland, she said her husband was in a meeting. Honor that. C minus. Joseph Kelleher, too much deception. F. Brian Sidlatko, old style sales tactics. C. Rocky Blockatiel, I'll give a C for the crisp shirt. Johnny Z. Fradley, D minus. Same old wives' tales tricks. And Mark Smith says, agreed, Johnny Z. For myself, I can't get past the Bumperdillo. That's
it's obscene.
I call it a D, because especially $400 for basically it's just clear plastic tape that in about 2 years it's all going to peel off, or the Florida sun is going to turn it
yellow
into little cracked pieces that you can't get off, and it's going to look horrible. Florida's tough on stuff like that. So I say a D from me.
D minus just popped in, just to so you know.
Rick, what would you say that would cost on Amazon?
That tape should be $40 for the whole set.
I already knew the answer, but I just wanted to put that out there.
What'd you find?
What you said.
Wow, that was just a guess on my part. And figure maybe it would take about 20-30 minutes to install that.
It's associated with Volkswagen, not just
definitely.
Yeah, not just Schumacher.
I was going to express the fact before I grade this Schumacher Volkswagen that's exactly what they go with, Stu, and that is the Volkswagen Bumperdillo. It protects you from the hustle and the bustle. Right. And they want to be there for you for $400.
It has a Volkswagen parts number. I'm not kidding.
I'm looking at it. Well, folks, maybe you already know how I'm going to vote. I don't know. I wasn't impressed by David's crispy iron shirt. I'm there to purchase a vehicle, and this is definitely old school. Monroney label, the lack of it, so many fees. It just doesn't reflect the Schumacher family way. And for that, and David, why did David have to wait so long to come out and to introduce himself to the customer? I think that should have done.
He was tying that big bow into a big beautiful bow.
Well, I can tell him what to do with his bow, but at any rate, they get an F from me.
Well, I tell you what,
Strong.
there must be something in the air. I rarely go higher than everybody, but I'm gonna give him a C plus. If someone said to me, where would I buy a vehicle in Palm Beach County, Schumacher would be right up there on the list. I mean, people do ask me about that. I say, well, you go to Schumacher, just be careful. And you have to be careful at Schumacher, but
I'm glad to hear you say that because I would just not expect that from Schumacher or anyone to say to me, "Hey, listen, you better be really careful when you go into Schumacher." I would hear that from Mapleton or Rigo.
You got people like Arrigo, even worse. You got people like Mapleton. You got people like Beth Smith Toyota or Beth Smith Kia. We see some horrible stores out there. So the average South Florida store, you have to remember, is bad. That's a C.
So you're basing your grade on that opinion.
The curve.
Complacency.
The curve. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. They wound up basically selling the car for MSRP. But they had the dog and pony show in between.
Yeah.
If you shopped that and said, I don't even want to know how the sausage is made. Just give me the out the door price.
Yeah.
It would get a better grade for me.
Yeah. When a dealership will come down, that's good. But the fact that they require the dog and pony show to come down, what happens? The real sin in the whole game is. Excuse the male chauvinist comment, the little old lady comes in to buy a car. And the little old lady is real because women that were born in the 40s and 50s grew up in a different culture with a man making all the decisions. And so their husband passes away and an 80-year-old widow or an 85-year-old widow goes into a car dealership. She doesn't know how to play the dog and pony show, and so she pays thousands of dollars over a sticker. That's a real sin. But the average person that knows to play the game can go into a Schumacher store and get
right.
Well, for the little old lady, let me make a correction here. For some of them, I agree with you. And how they walked behind the man or wherever they walked, and he was fully in charge. And then there are the women from the 40s and 50s, like me, who walked in front of the man. And if he didn't get out of my way, I knocked him down. So I could go into a dealership.
Somebody anesthetized Nancy.
I could go into a dealership and I could definitely, my negotiating skills have definitely been sharpened through the years. And I use that term loosely, sharpened. Okay, what else do we have, Mr. Car Dealer? You want to go? We got a couple minutes to.
You don't have anything. We'll just have to have dead air.
I've got
no,
one
I think
last
you
YouTube
should share
here.
the fact that Tesla was coming out with all of those parts and how they were, just putting everything together and would be almost sitting on another battery kind of a thing. That's an interesting story.
That. Yeah, I hate to.
He doesn't have any shortage.
I hate to do too much Tesla stuff, but there's another major breakthrough that Tesla came up with Automotive News. They have a machine that they have designed that can make one piece of the undercarriage of their electric vehicles that will condense into one piece over 400 parts that would otherwise have to be bought elsewhere.
Wow.
And so when they build a Tesla, they are going to consolidate.
It's like a big cookie cutter.
This is a copy of the press that they're making, and this is just an example of the Elon Musk genius that will also reduce the price of the vehicle tremendously. It will speed up the cost of the time of production, and another amazing breakthrough for Tesla. So that's that's what we use to fill in the extra time.
Yeah,
and now we
that's
got
a
to
great
go.
story. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. We love your company. You make the show. Have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget about Big Dog Ranch. You can go to www.bigdogranch.org, and you can take a look at all the dogs there and consider adopting or fostering. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be right back here next week, 8 a.m. Saturday morning.